Hey guys, Huz here bringing you another video, this time on Vayne AD Carry. Now, a few people have asked me to do a video of Vayne, and honestly, I'm okay with it because I've been playing a bit more of Vayne in the recent weeks. Basically, Vayne has got a little bit more popular. She's always been fairly popular down bot lane, but she got indirect buffs through other champions' nerfs. Now, I hope you're still with me in that the fact that Varus got nerfed a little bit, and Draven obviously got nerfed. And this allowed Vayne basically to sneak up into, a very, very strong rate. Now, obviously she has been nerfed, and this game is after the change to the ult, I believe. This was about 4 or 5 days ago. So her ultimate is not up on cooldown as much as it used to be at the beginning of the game, but it is still up a fair amount. It's just a standard ultimate nowadays. That you used to be able to use the ultimate, go back to base, and come back into lane and have it nearly straight up again, which it was a bit broken. But basically, I've been playing Vayne for, pretty much most of my LoL career. I used to be an AD carry at the start of Season 2, and admittedly, I wasn't very good back then. I've obviously improved a lot since Season 2. But yeah, I'm currently 4-0 with her in ranked this season. I've only played 4 ranked games, but I'm very comfortable in the champion, and I think in the foreseeable future, I will be continuing to play her quite a lot. Now, the team we are running this game is a fairly nice team, I would say, with the exception of Teemo in the actual comp. But in solo queue, anything can work, and this Teemo actually does very, very well this game from memory, and he is one of the reasons we actually win. Now, a lot of people ask me to do a lane where we may not have as much, a good time, say, than the Varus video, because the Varus video, both me and Gals played very, very well, and we just won that lane straight out, The enemy didn't play it bad, we just pretty much just outplayed them. It's kind of how it worked, It's just sometimes that happens. Where this lane, from memory, this gave us a bit harder, I think, being a Ezreal Janna is a very hard comp to engage on, in the fact that Ezreal can just E away and Janna can just whirlwind somebody if they want to go in for an engage. So it is a relatively hard lane for a Vayne, because a Vayne in lane, if you are, basically you go into lane as a Vayne not expecting to win the lane phase, because she's a late game hyper carry. She's very item dependent in that fact, where compared to an Ez has his poke always throughout the game, and he can still always do quite well. Now, we're going for a little bit of poke there, but we probably, they returned a bit more damage than we actually gave out, which, you have to test early on how much that damage their comp will actually do to you, and that's basically what we were doing. We were just kind of scouting around what they kind of do. Nami in lane, I'm a very big fan of Nami, although she's not in my personal pool. She is still, one of my favourite supports to actually play with in bot lane. My personal pool is Thresh, Blitzcrank, Leona, and Lulu are my go-tos in support-wise. But yeah, I'd probably pick up Nami in the next couple of weeks. I don't know. And obviously with the announcement of the Weather Janna skin, I probably will pick up Janna. Now, Janna is fairly easy to play, but she has a very big decision-making gap. Now, we are going for a bit of damage. I go for the Condemn, basically, just to get even more damage. I know I wasn't really going to go for the kill, so having the Condemn is an extra, 80-odd damage. So having that is just a bonus, I suppose. You do have to be a bit careful with mana on Vayne, as she is actually quite mana-dependent. And now that is, a bit of... some people don't actually see it that way, but if you don't have your Condemn up, if you don't have your Q up, then, or your Tumble up, then you're going to be in a bit of trouble. Now, the Koreans, I think they actually run some mana regen on Vayne in the Masteries, where over here we go for a much more tanky type champion. Now, one thing as well with Korea, I have been doing my research with Korea, I've got new rune pages that I'm trying out and stuff. They run CDR on Vayne in her blues. Not full CDR, but I think about 4% or something along them lines, just so she can dem that much more and she can tumble that much more. I wouldn't really recommend it to somebody that is fairly new to the game, or, maybe not a very high skill level with Vayne, as I would say it's a very hard thing to pull off, to be able to make it right. But yeah, it seems to be okay. I'm not running the CDR this game. I just know it, it's kind of there and it exists. Now, our plan this game is basically get to late game. Now, the teams on both teams, there's Teemo top for our team. They have a Wukong, so in a way, Wukong is better late game than the Teemo in the fact that he can do a huge AoE knockup. That should be doing quite a lot of damage when he gets his armor pen. Now, we have an Ahri mid compared to a LeBlanc mid. Now, LeBlanc is a pretty damn good champion, has to be said. She's very good at basically bursting down enemy AP carries, just like a Kassadin, really. Maybe a bit more reliable. But yeah, I think the funny thing with this LeBlanc is her name is actually Heartseeker Vayne, and obviously I'm using the Heartseeker Vayne skin. And yeah, she was a Vayne main, so maybe she isn't playing a very familiar champion being LeBlanc, or I don't know. And then obviously bot lane we've got Vayne Nami versus Ezreal Janna, and then in the jungle there's a Nautilus versus a Rammus, which is fairly even, I have to say. There's not much separating them guys. You know, Nautilus brings a bit more AoE CC, and the fact if he lines up his ultimate, it's very good. Where Rammus does a very good job just standing in the middle of a team fight and doing really a lot of damage. People underestimate how much damage a Rammus actually does. If you get Sunfire on him, you'll be doing a lot. Anyway, we're going for a bit of pressure. Gals finds a Janna trying to pink or something, so he basically does some free damage on her. Me and Ezreal are just having a pretty happy time just CSing from what I remember in this game. I think at one point I might just stay in bot lane while things are going on, because I think in this game, from memory, I think we may start to get focused somewhat, which will lead to maybe a couple deaths or, having the team needing to create pressure elsewhere. So we'll see what happens, but that's basically from memory. Now I'm just picking up as much CS as possible, moving into the second bush to just basically safe back. Now I've nearly got 1400 gold. A Cutlass is 1400 from nothing from scratch, but I don't really want to build that straight away, especially having a Nautilus on the map. You want a bit of mobility because the dodge them hooks is always good. Now obviously I do have the tumble, but having the extra movement speed also will help. So I picked that up, having a Vamp Scepter and boots, which will give me more sustain. Now, the runes I'm running this game is pretty much my standard rune page on pretty much every single AD carry I play, and that is 2 lifesteal quints, 1 AD quint, 8 AD reds with 1 crit red, armor yellows, and MR blues, and that's my fairly standard page. The 1 crit red is just basically for early game. If you get a crit early game, it's a big deal, so having that 1 extra crit actually can help somewhat. Anyway, there's quite a big wave built up, so I'm going to try and pick up as much CS as possible. Be great if I'd be able to, pick up all of it. Having about 50 CS at the 7-minute mark isn't bad. It's basically on target for having an okay creep score. Now, there hasn't been a huge amount of action in bot lane. Obviously, we did see Nautilus try to come in for a gank several times from the tri-bush, but obviously warded, so he was unable to do anything. And yeah, we've had a couple of skirmishes, not really much to say about them. No one's got an advantage. Now, one thing to note, I will say, is the Ezreal build. He is going for the Elder Lizard. Now, many people don't actually go for Elder Lizard on Ezreal anymore. So we can see on the minimap that Rammus is moving into the bot lane. Now we're trying to bait out a fight here. Now Gals is getting poked quite a lot, but he is a Nami, so he's able to hit it up. Now the Rammus right now can move into this bush, but I don't think he really knows the fog of war distances, unfortunately. So he stays back quite a lot longer. Now he moves in now, which is an okay time, I suppose. And yeah, we're going to see if we can make anything happen. Our lane is pushing, so we do have to be fairly careful. Janna is coming along. Now I condemn her into the wall. There's a Rammus taunt, and there we go. Nami picks up the kill. Now again, Ezreal goes quite deep for Nami. Now we continue to try and go for kills. Now here's a little skirmish going on. Both junglers, both AD carries, and we're getting them fairly low. But then Rammus taunts the Ezreal, and I continue to go for the Nautilus. I flash to try and get anything. But yeah, that was, I think, a slight mistake by the Rammus on his part. Now, I think I do say, Nautilus was dead. And admittedly, we could have killed Ezreal also if I went for Ezreal. But the point being that Nautilus had buffs on him. If a character has buffs in the lane phase, I want them buffs. So that's why I went for the Nautilus over the Ezreal. And yeah, I think it was a fairly good call on my part. But yeah, this is the point that solo queue differs from pre-made. If it was pre-made, we'd clearly say, go for Nautilus on communications, get rid of his blue or red buff, whatever he had, and then you're good to go. So yeah, it's a bit annoying. Now Janna is covering, so I'm going to do as much damage as I can as possible, but then I get turret aggro and I'm unable to finish the final Silver Bolt. So I level W on Vayne, Silver Bolt wise. Now, basically what this means is you level Tumble if you're going for lane pressure, and, it's a fair. I would never put anybody down for getting, leveling Q. It's always a good way to do things, and I used to do it myself. But then I level W basically because it gives you a bit more skirmish potential. If it's a longer fight, you'll be doing more damage overall. Having them 3 silver bolts always stacking up. Now, if you saw in chat, there was a bit of a little tiff, I suppose, argument going on between an Ahri and a Rammus. Now, Rammus doesn't have much CS at the moment. He's only got about 20, which is pretty poor. but I don't really know what's been going on with him. Now, yeah, you get this a lot. People just take out frustration on each other, and yeah, it's pointless, really. It's just vent up frustration that people want to let out. So, CSing into tower as best as I can. Obviously, having that 1 AD Quint allows you to basically farm better under tower. That's why you don't go for the 3 lifesteal Quints. Because it would very weaken your, last hitting ability, and you wouldn't be in an amazing place in that stage. Now we are looking for an engage again. Now I am doing quite a lot of damage right now. Now Ezreal goes quite deep, so we're going to see if we can pick up a kill. Janna does ultimate to try and get us away. Now we do a fair amount of damage and just decide to back off. That was a pretty good fight for us. So yeah, pretty good. Got both ultimates out. Well, Nami used hers, but then we got Janna ult, so kind of worth. I did use my ultimate, and obviously Ez didn't, but Ezreal's is up a lot more than Vayne's, so it's okay, I suppose. Now, just CSing even more. Now, there's Ez ult, so he's going to clear that out, and that basically shows us that he's a bit worried that if he thinks maybe a turret dive is coming, or he basically wants to base to try and pick up some items, that's generally when an Ezreal uses his ult. Now, at LeBlanc Ahri lane in mid lane, I'll quickly say, it is favoured towards a LeBlanc slightly. But, a Ahri can still win the lane if she gets a good charm off and basically burst someone. Now, I was looking for the kill there, but I didn't get it. So close, but oh well, they're the type of things that you just have to know. When you have the 2 stacks of silver bolts, use your condemn, and then your final last hit would actually keep going with the condemn. So then you can try and get the 3rd bolt on and have a big crit, hopefully. Or just a big attack. But yeah, unfortunately I didn't pick up the kill. Would have been really good if I did actually manage to get it right there, but oh well. Ezreal is alone in lane right now, and as I said, he is going to be going for the ancient Elder Lizard, whatever it's called. And yeah, I don't really like doing that on Ezreal anymore. Now that's, okay, one thing I also have to say, that bubble thing with Ez, it also works with a Blitzcrank hook. If an Ezreal gets hooked, and then the E's at the right time, the hook doesn't matter, or the bubble doesn't matter. He can still just move out. So that is a bit annoying when you're playing against an Ezreal and you have a Nami or a Blitzcrank in your lane. He's a very slippery person. I don't even know if that's intended by Riot. Maybe it's a small bug, but it's been around for God knows, like, years. So maybe it is intended. Now, we are asking Ahri if she does have TP. Now, here's what I'm talking about, LeBlanc versus Ahri. She does more damage than her a lot of the time. Now, that was a really good play by the LeBlanc there. She basically moved her ghost into the path of Rammus, so he couldn't basically jump onto Anna kill her. So right now, I'm actually fairly doing okay. This lane is going better right now than from memory. I did remember us getting slightly focused, but maybe that was a different Vayne game. In the fact that I do very remember getting 4-man ganked several times in a Vayne game. But yeah, as I said, I've played Vayne more often than I used to, so we'll see what happens in this game, I suppose. I'm letting Nami go into the bush just to ward it first. A Vayne doesn't want to be face-checking bushes. Well, no one really wants to be face-checking bushes, but it's better not to do it as an AD carry over, most roles. Now, I have got the fully max W right now, so I will be doing quite a lot of sustained damage in a fight. It doesn't make my burst massive, but, it does okay. Now, there's a little fight between LeBlanc and Ahri. Ahri goes down, but then because of the Q that was coming back to her dead body, it actually picked up the kill on Blanc. So, even trade. And as well is, if an Ahri even trades with a Blanc, then you're doing actually pretty well, because LeBlanc is there to shut down AP mages, just like a Kassadin. So, there's not much to say about bot lane right now. It's been going okay, I suppose. We've both been just generally farming. Now, there is a little skirmish going for the pink ward. I do try to condemn her away to try and get her off it, but she does manage to pick it up with her final auto attack while she was flying back. But because we both cancelled out each other's pinks, we both basically can just have a free ward there. Now, there's a fight or something going on around the red buff, or there may be happening. So we're going to try and kill the Janna. Here comes the Nami ult. And there's one kill. Nami picks it up with her ultimate. But then I'm going to continue going on the Ezreal. And I have no idea where he's gone. Now you can see the damage that is on LeBlanc. Exhaust goes down on her, and we're just going to basically try and get away right now. Ahri went top lane and got a double kill with a TP. And yeah, we're trying our best to get away. I'm a bit scared of the LeBlanc's going to try and burst someone. Ezreal E's over the wall. Now, if we both focused him straight away, then we might have been able to get a kill here. I used my flash. I do not know why I used my flash. That was kind of a panic flash to try and dodge maybe a skill shot or something. I might have even dodged the LeBlanc chain. But yeah, oh well, it happens. You know, we got, I think, one of them in that, and they killed two of us. So not all terrible. Oh, I know. I think I actually remember something that happens in the near future. So yeah, there's LeBlanc, and she comes back and just finishes Nami off. So they do get a positive trade over us, but it has to be said that our mid laner did go up top lane and got a double kill. So not all bad. We do manage to get something out of it at least. But this does make me be 0-1-2, having a negative score. Now, I'm just pinging the Janna just so he can kill the Janna. They should be able to kill her fairly easily with the Ahri having her ultimate up. So she's going to try and kite as best as she can. Ahri's got her ultimate. Does a pretty good ultimate there. Picks it up again. I'm on my way bot lane, so I let them know that I'm in, close vicinity, and yeah, nothing much happens. But then the Rammus pings the dragon, so we're gonna head over there and start doing it. And some global gold for the team is always nice. I am building Blade of the Ruined King first item on Vayne. As you guys know, I'm a big fan of Blade of the Ruined King, basically because I like bruising people, I like having little skirmishes here and there, and you can't really beat Blade for them type of items. They are very, very good. Now, there is a little fight here. Now, I think at this point I had to go AFK, or someone came in my room or something, so I was a bit distracted. So that was totally my bad. I don't think we would have won that fight anyway, because all of us were fairly low. But yeah, I could have done better. I could have reacted a lot better than I did. Now, Ahri is going to try her best to try and make something happen here, but then LeBlanc basically comes along and finishes her off. So we do pick up the dragon, but I will take a bit of responsibility for that. And, it happens sometimes, and you've basically just got to be like, oh, my bad. But yeah, I think someone just came in my room just to say something, and so I just looked towards the door, and in that time, I died, basically. So pick up my blade now. Well done to Teemo picking up the top tower. He's actually pressuring the Wukong really, really well. Wukong has been a champion that I've played in the past, and I have actually been tempted to actually pick him up somewhat again, because he's a pretty damn good top laner. Now, Ezreal, as you see, he's level 11, and I'm not even level 10 right now. So he's actually a big advantage, and this is where the bot lane starts slipping away from us, which is a bit annoying, honestly. Now, Ezreal, again, is still just pressuring us. Now, I do have a fair amount of life still, as well as a Nami that can heal me. Now, there goes the Ezreal E when he's already bubbled again. So, yeah, unfortunate. Maybe would have done something if, he could stay still in a bubble instead of just E away. Now, he does get stunned. He still does get the stun when he E's away, but it's, he's already a distance away, so. Now, I am just telling Rammus just to grow up. It's a bit annoying when you just see people back and forth argument. And basically, because I say this, I think they do actually stop, I think, from memory. And this is basically what you do. Sometimes you have to realize when you have to be blunt with people, and sometimes you have to just mute them straight away. But right now, we can actually just solve this straight away, and we can actually win this game pretty damn easily if we just work as a unit. Now, Teemo, again, doing work. He picks up the Nautilus by himself. Maybe Nautilus ran into a couple of shrooms, and that was able for Teemo to, get some auto attacks in or something. Now, here's the point in the game where I'm just going into free farm mode Vayne, and this is a bad thing for the enemy team. Although they've got our bot tower, and although Ezreal is ahead of me in levels, you really never should let a Vayne have a lane to herself and just free farm, because Vayne, as I was saying in the beginning of this video, does pretty much the most damage in the game, late game, of any AD carry, as well as having the highest mobility. Now, there is a fight going in mid lane, and they're winning basically without me, so I don't really need to be there. I can continue to free farm, but they do have to be careful when the Ezreal does show up, because he will be doing a fair amount of damage right now. So they just have to be a bit careful. Now, I do pick up quite a lot of CS, having 143 at 19 odd minutes. Now, Teemo does get exploded by the LeBlanc, and that's basically the danger of a LeBlanc. She can do that, and it's quite worrying as a Vayne when you see a LeBlanc being able to do that to multiple different people. Nautilus does come bottom to cover. Now, I don't want to fight the Nautilus right now. He's got a Sunfire cape, which is a bit of a questionable pickup on a Nautilus, honestly, but he's fairly damn strong, and he has so many slows. He'll probably just be able to continue to hook me, slow me, knock me up with his ultimate until a Ezreal arrives to finish me off. So you just want to get out there in that situation. Now, I go over and pick up the wolves. Basically, I want to continue CSing, and anywhere I can to gain gold, I'm going to do. And if that's taking, wolves, I think I'm going to help someone with a blue buff later on in this game, or maybe, I'm going to do it now. So helping the Ahri pick up the blue buff is always a nice gesture. When your lane is pushing out, you may as well do other things instead of just standing AFK. Be helpful to your team. Now, I'm going to pick up these two little 6 gold little lizards. So there's 12 gold extra for me. Cha-ching. But anyway, Ezreal has returned to bot lane and is continuing to apply pressure. And again, he is 2 levels ahead of me. So this is why I'm just going to stay in this bot lane for a while and just farm up. And hopefully my team doesn't decide to fight 4v5. Because that would be a pretty bad situation for them. Now, as you can see, the CS is actually stockpiling right now. I'm getting about 2 waves or so every other minute at the same time. So my CS is starting to get quite high. I think Ezreal's maybe around the same as mine right now. I'm not entirely sure. If we look at Ezreal's, and I tabbed way too quickly for when this was actually live. Oh, excuse Twitch. We have to have our normal game blackout or something. This is just normal for Twitch right now in VODs. Anyway, the game resumes. Now, I have to be a bit careful right now because the Ezreal could basically jump on me and probably have a good chance of killing me if I'm not able to pin him up against a wall. If I'm able to pin him up against a wall, then there's a very good chance I'll actually kill him as a Vayne because my damage output will be higher right now. No, maybe, well, actually saying that, maybe not because I do have 1700 gold on me. I need to use that gold to actually be effective. So anyway, going to push up the rest of this lane. Now, I want bottom tower relatively soon. It will be quite nice for the bonus gold. And I think I'm going to try and push that for that soon. Because I see most people on the map. The only one I'm really generally scared of right now is Nautilus. And that may sound really weird, but Nautilus can really shut me down really badly. Now, Janna is the only one that returns to lane. Now, I am going to try and look for a kill, but then Wukong shows up. Now, the Wukong, from what I know, has been beaten quite badly in top lane by Teemo, so you wouldn't think he'd have a lot of items, and maybe if I play it right, I'll be able to kill him 1v1. But with Janna in the area, and I have no idea where LeBlanc is, I'm just going to back off. Now, you can actually see LeBlanc is around mid lane. She was thinking of coming bot lane, but I do back off in time. Now, I have 2,000 gold, which is quite a nice bounty to have when I'm going back to base. Going to probably pick up a BF sword. Now, top lane, Teemo actually picks up the kill on the Ezreal. Good taunt by Rammus, from what I know. Manages to give Teemo the potential burst to actually kill him. Now, Rammus also flash taunts, but as you can see how tanky this Nautilus is. It's extremely tanky and basically hooks like Spider-Man to get away. But then Ahri uses her ult, and I do think they manage to pick her up eventually. There you go. So they do pick up the Nautilus, which is a good kill. Now, Wukong's with me by himself. I'm looking at his items. He's got a Hex Drinker, a pickaxe, etc. Now, he does a fair amount of damage to me, but I return it quite, a lot. Now, I thought he might W and then just try and ult me on his face, but as you can see, my lifesteal right now is quite high, so I don't think this Wukong would generally want to fight me by himself. Maybe if he had an ally with him, then he may try. But anyway, Rammus has moved over to the dragon. I am missing a few CS out right now, but, picking up the dragon is more important than just having, 4 CS extra. So I'm going to try and pick up this as quick as possible. If we went for an engage right now, we don't know if we could, win. TMO right now is quite a lot of our damage. Now, I am a bit cautious that Gels, has stayed behind a couple more seconds than everybody else, but he's okay. Going to return to bot lane once again, and yeah, this may be the boring phase, but if you're playing Vayne, you better be used to just farming like this if you are a little bit behind. You really do need the farm, you really need the items, basically, just to make sure you're okay. Now, the bot lane of Ezreal Janna is actually applying quite a lot of pressure to the bot lane right now, and we don't know how many wards they have covering the area, but I would presume they have quite a lot. If they saw any movement, they would probably just back off. Now, LeBlanc, as you can see, is over to the left. They're thinking of trying to get me, dive me or go for this tower. So you do have to be fairly careful. My team is coming to back me up, so I should be okay. There comes Nami out. Now I have Ahri from the left coming in. I do get knocked up by the ultimate there. Now I am going for the kill on LeBlanc. There's a shutdown for myself. Continuing on the path of kills, I suppose. I flash helped to get the Janna. Would have been nice if I picked that up myself, but oh well. Here comes the kill onto the Ezreal, and Rammus picks it up. So we get a 3-4-0 trade right there. Me picking up a shutdown kill, which is always nice. And this is the point of the game from memory when we start actually winning, I suppose, would be the right thing to say. Now, in this game, there's never really been a point that I'd say, right, we're losing this game. But there has been a couple questionable points that they've got more towers than us. I think at the right now they had a bit more lane pressure than us in bot lane especially. But as I say, as a Vayne, you just don't panic. You just farm up until you get your late game stage, and basically you just turn into the monster. I'm going to base, nearly got 2,000 gold again, and I think the next item I'm going to go for is IE. IE is a great item on Vayne with them big crits coming in onto the W or the Q is pretty damn awesome. But yeah, I'm about 250 odd gold from finishing that item. I think it's 645 gold to actually finish it. Rammus was looking for a taunt there, but didn't manage to get it. Wukong did manage to back before. Now, if we look at the CS, I am actually 23 CS ahead of the Ezreal, so that's pretty good. I've managed to turn kind of a losing lane, I suppose, into an okay lane. I farmed a little bit more. Ezreal, yes, he got more kills than me, but we're okay. Now, Gals does go down there, unfortunately, but it's okay. We can fight without him, maybe, if we get a pick on somebody. If Ahri gets a charm onto the Ezreal, or if I manage to burst someone down, we can still manage to do things, but we do decide just to back off. Both buffs are up, so I'm going to go over and get the red buff, and relatively soon I'll be able to pick up my IE anyway, and that will increase my damage output by quite a lot, it must be said. So I just have to be a bit more cautious and make sure that I don't go in a position where I'm basically, throwing the game. Now, we have to be fairly careful that they don't do Baron right now. They could probably do it fairly quickly with a Wukong, a Nautilus, and an Ezreal. So we do have to be fairly careful. Now, it has to be said that our team would be able to do Baron much quicker than theirs. Having a Vayne with a Blade and a IE will be doing a lot of damage to a Baron. Also, a Teemo will be doing quite a lot of damage, and a Rammus would be actually doing a surprising amount of damage to a Baron, especially if he's tanking it with his W. But anyway, relatively soon we want to start grouping for team fights. Now, I've just hit the 200 CS mark, which isn't bad. More than the Ezreal right now, but he has actually gone to bot lane and trying to farm for himself while pushing it out to apply map pressure. He's basically, what they're thinking is to put the tower, or you put the minions into our base, and then we have to go cover that, and maybe they'll be able to get a free Baron or something. But instead of going over there and covering it, we basically just decided to go for a tier 2 turret. Now, I don't know what LeBlanc was doing right there. Now, we don't manage to pick up the kill, unfortunately, on her yet. But she was trying to get me, but she got taunted in midair. So, going for the kill onto the Janna, managed to pick up that myself. And that gives us pressure for the tier 2 mid lane turret, one of the most important turrets in the game. Now, as you can see, Ezreal's damage is actually quite significant, honestly. Now, Ahri does go in. There is a bit of a fight. I use my ultimate just to do as much damage as I can, but I can't get in the position to finish anybody off, unfortunately. And we do have to be a bit careful here. Now, as you can see, Ezreal's poke is quite a lot, plus the Elder Lizard. That is basically where the Elder Lizard does kind of shine into its own. And now we are basically doing the old sneaky hide into a bush tactic and seeing if we can make anything happen. I think something may happen any second. Flash into the Ezreal. Now there is another fight. Now I'm getting focused, as you can see. Wukong trying to kill me. I killed the LeBlanc. She was trying to jump on someone's face, but I managed just to pick up that kill with a Q. And then Teemo's done a very nice Zhonya's and managing to pick up the Wukong there. Now we're at an okay situation. The fight went relatively even. I think we actually lost the fight, losing 3 people where they only lost 2, but they were relatively low. So we're doing okay. We don't want to fight them 2v2, although if we got them in the right positioning, etc., would be okay. But Gals is relatively low mana, and a Nami with low mana isn't great. Now I see the Janna going in for basically to try and clear wards, and bam, you see a flash. So for nothing, I managed to pick up the Janna flash. Now I don't even think I would have caught her. As soon as her passive Tailwind would have procced after the T-Mushroom dot would have gone away, I would have no chance of catching her right now. I think the next item I go for would be a PD or a Static Shiv. And the difference between what you want with a PD and Static Shiv on Vayne, both are very viable on her. But personally, PD for me, you get more single target damage. You can kite a bit more potential, etc. But if you want to have a Static Shiv, that's when you want to push the lane a lot quicker. That's when you want to get maybe a bit of AoE damage in there. Not much, it's literally not much at all. But, it is there with Shiv. The option is there. Now, Dragon is up, so I think we're going to head over there and just, quickly do it. No one's going to do Baron at this stage right now. People aren't confident enough. Now, Ahri does go quite deep onto the LeBlanc. She doesn't manage to pick up the kill, but she is so extremely low. I think Ari might go down relatively soon, and we are going in for a fight. So I'm going to do my best to try and kite. Nautilus is trying to get a stun on me. And yeah, we're going to fight. And as you can see, this is their Nautilus. This is their tank. And I'm still doing a lot of damage to him. Now, all of them are escaping with so little health. Now, that is a very dead Janna. And the lot of that was my damage. But, you know, I have to say a lot of that was also Teemo's damage. Teemo does burst with his Q. It does quite a lot of damage. And yeah, it can't be underestimated. You know, a lot of people don't like having a Teemo on their team. And when I see a Teemo, I do cringe a little bit. But they can work. And I think this guy might even make, or main Teemo, sorry. And you get people out there that do main Teemo, and there's people out there that have got, you know, Diamond 1 from only playing Teemo. It has been known for that to happen. He can play mid, top, well, he can pretty much play every single role but jungle, and, well, his obviously weakest, I would say, is AD carry, but he can still do it. We are going in for the kill onto LeBlanc. Very good driving skills by the Rammus there. Continuing to go in for the Vayne. Now, pick up the kill onto her. Now, there's I think Mikkel's, or whatever it's called, the QSS item. Gals picks it up pretty much every single game, especially if I'm playing a hyper carry like Vayne. And it's basically a QSS he can use on me, so I don't have to build it myself. And he QSSs me when Nautilus gets a stun on me, so I'm able just to get out straight away. I do use my flash. But yeah, I'm basically at a positive score right now, being 4-2-5, able to turn myself around basically by you know, being able to basically free farm. Now right now you're seeing me having the decision of whether I'm buying Shiv or PD, and I do end up going for the PD, just having a bit more, you know, single target damage. Now the red buff is up, so I'm going to head over there and pick up the red buff, and then we're probably going to start thinking about Baron. As I said earlier, having a Vayne with a Blade and an IE will be doing Baron at a, you know, very, very, very fast rate. Now there came a random Ezreal ult that he was probably just clearing CS with, but it actually did manage to pick up a kill on, or not kill, it managed to hit Gals, which was pretty funny. So yeah, picking up the red buff, level 16 now, having my tier 3 ultimate. So I'm at a pretty good situation to be right now. Now, I think Ezreal may have caught up with me in CS somewhat, but it doesn't really matter at this stage of the game because Vayne will just do more damage than Ezreal anyway late game. I just had to get myself there. And I have. I've managed to get most of my items, most of my core items. It would be great when I actually managed to pick up the PD itself. Now, Teemo, it's a bit questionable what he's doing right now. He's kind of just derping, I suppose, is the right term. But he does actually return quite a lot of damage to the Nami also, so not terrible. Now, we don't have Ari with us. She is doing the blue buff. Gals manages to get a bubble onto the Wukong and get some damage in there, which is, you know, always nice, I suppose. But it was very little damage. Now, I'm going to return to mid lane just to push it up, just to apply a bit more pressure. If this lane pushes up, we might be able to catch Baron or something along them lines. Now, there's Janna ult gone, which is a very big ultimate not to have in the middle of a team fight. So we are probably going to look for Engage relatively soon. Now, that Janna is coming around to try and get a ward going. She goes relatively low, and then Rammus, I think, is on his way in. So there you go, Rammus and then Namiel all coming in. Now, LeBlanc I could see was going to the left. Now, I used my Condemn to try and dodge most of her stuff. Now, I managed to pick up the kill, which is always nice. And I have to basically use my kiting potential as Vayne as well as I can, not to get focused, etc. Nautilus coming in for the kill, but Ari comes down from the bottom side, and we basically are just continuing to try and, you know, wreck people. Pick up the kill onto the Ezreal, and here's where you see me go, no! Pretty good ultimate, it must be said, by the Ezreal. Very quick reactions in that fact, and there was literally nothing I could have done to get out of that. It was funneled in the way that even if I condemned, I don't think at any point I would have been able to dodge it. So yeah, well played by the Ezreal. It did a lot of damage. It did like nearly 700 damage in his ultimate. So it does a lot of damage to me right now. Now, the next item I'm going to be picking up is the Frozen Mallet. Now, it's questionable that I pick it up now, but basically I want to explain my reasoning. I'm getting focused quite badly in the fact that LeBlanc is always trying to jump on my face, and LeBlanc is a burst mage. So if I'm able to survive the burst, I'm pretty at a good situation. Now, Nami last time exhausted the LeBlanc to stop her burst, you know, fully killing me. But it still did a lot of damage to me, and having a Frozen Mallet will able to me, one, to have more health, so I can, you know, survive the burst a bit more, and two, it gives me more kiting potential. Having that slow will able, you know, basically like Ezreal, I can kite around the team fight and do a fairly good job just surviving as well as I can. Now, Janna walks into a shroom, and we're praying she walks into that little satellite, but she does see it with the oracles. So she doesn't actually walk into it. Rammus is pushing bot. Now, I do tell him in chat, Rammus, you really can't be bottom lane because it gives them so much Baron potential. Now there is a fight going on. Ezreal gets caught a little bit. I help manage to pick up the kill right there. We get Janna whirlwinded again, so that's a bit annoying, but I think I do manage to pick up the kill onto her, and there you go. And there Ahri picks up the final little hit. Now we are thinking Baron, but then the team calls to do the towers, so we're going to head over there. Now a lot of the time you just have to realise that if you go for the inhib tower, then inhib, a lot of the time you can do Baron at the same time. You've just got to be, you just have to know that you are able to do it quick enough, and we're having a Vayne and a Teemo really does a lot of damage to towers. As you can see, I'm doing 200 each time to the inhib, and then we're going to head over to Baron because we have enough time to do it. So the game right now is looking pretty well for us. We are 7 kills ahead, and as a Vayne, I am 7-3-7 right now. Obviously, turning it basically from being 0-2 to having 7 kills. And this is basically just what a Vayne does. You don't have to have an amazing lane phase to do well in the game. You just have to bide your time, make sure your CS is quite well. Just make sure you get the core items, and you're good to go. You just have to make sure you do team fights well enough that you survive, the majority of them, and you'll be fine. Now, I do ping that I'm going to go top and try and pick up this CS, and then on the minimap we can see Ahri has found herself a pet Janna, and basically that's a dead Janna. So Ahri right now has a lot of burst, and she's doing her job wonderfully as a burst mage. And yeah, she's doing very well, and must be said that our team generally did perform very well this game. Rammus did good taunts, he did good engages. Ahri did very well in the mid lane. Obviously, having a LeBlanc against her is fairly hard to deal with, but she did very well in that fact. And obviously, Teemo beating a Wukong top is always very good. Me and Gals in bot lane, we did generally okay. We just basically lost out to certain fights, and that basically got Ezreal the lead in kills. But I always maintained the same CS, or relatively the same CS as him, so I was never out of the game. So yeah, all the team played relatively well this game, and we're continuing to do so well. We're doing team fights, etc. We're working fairly well together, although there was a few arguments here and there. And as you can see, from the point that I told Rammus basically to grow up and stop, nothing's happened. Nobody's been arguing, and it's been perfect. So sometimes you just got to give people the harsh truth, and it works, and you can come together and win the game. Now we are looking if we can just be very sneaky and do a pick here. Janna, being Janna, is going to actually walk into a bush, and there's a dead Janna. I managed to pick up the kill there. Only 140 gold for the kill, and I'm going to just pick up the wraiths also. So yeah, good pick. This is the point in the game where you can't really face check because you pretty much die, and that goes for everyone. Even if your tank face checks in a bush, he's probably going to die. So yeah, you just got to be a bit more careful at this stage of the game, because a death at this stage of the game means a whole lot more than just gold. It means time. It means time that it's a 4v5, not just for the gold. Now, Teemo does flash there to try and, I don't know, kill the Ezreal, but it doesn't go very well for him. Now, they are going for a tower dive pretty much, and I'm a bit cautious about this, but I do go in. I do have many a target on me, and I flash out as well as I can. I managed to pick up the Wukong, but then in hindsight, I didn't use the blade, as you can see in the items. Maybe I didn't have enough time, I don't know. But yeah, I managed to pick up the kills, so I'm 9-4-8 right now with 250 CS. Okay score, pretty happy with that. And I think that's actually where the game is going to relatively stop. And there's a dead Ezreal. So yeah, that was Vayne, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Lee Sin was either before this or after this. I can't remember. Well, don't know what order I'm going to upload this. But anyway, if you have any suggestions of what champions you want me to play, make sure you search the channel before you ask for them, because I've done a lot of them. And if I haven't done it, then feel free to ask them in the comments. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.